All right, so when we left off in the previous video, we had just discussed the space in which we had put the bass guitar, and that will begin to make a bit more sense as we go along adding in the vocals. So the first vocal that we're going to look at is the lead vocal, which is assigned to bus 1, which is over here. That's the bus channel. And I'm just going to play a little bit for you without any space effects first.
Misery's a friend of mine.
Sorry, let me just mute that guitar.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's the dry vocal. And as we can see here, it's being sent to bus 12, 17, and 18. Let's look at bus 12 first, which is a quarter delay again from Echo Boy. Pretty much the same settings as the 8th delay, just that this one's a quarter delay. So let's just dial that in and play it.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah. We've been fighting like all the time, and we be heading for the finishing line. Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. So we can hear that delay in a way already gives us a sense of space before we even dial in any other type of delay or reverb. So the next reverb or the next space that we're going to put this in is on bus 17, which is a short room. Actually, let me just try and give you a feel of this before I add in the delay as well.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah. We've been fighting like all the time, and we be heading for the finishing line. Oh yeah.
So you can hear that it's in a small room, which is exactly what we want. But with the vocal, it's better to put it in both a small room and a spring or plate reverb, which is what I usually do. So the combination of the small room on bus 17 and the medium plate on bus 18 sounds thus.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah. We've been fighting like all the time, and we be heading for the finishing line. Oh yeah.
Okay, so if we add in the delay.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah. We've been fighting like all the time, and we be heading for the finishing line. Oh yeah.
Okay, so we've put our lead vocal in a space. The reason why I've gone especially subtle on this particular vocal is because I want the lead vocal to be out in the front. Remember, this song only has 2 instruments, and I've put these a little behind the lead vocal in the mix. So we'll talk about putting the backing vocals a bit further back in a second. But I'm just going to play the lead vocal and the bass guitar so you can hear the both of them together.
Misery's a friend of mine. We've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah. We've been fighting like all the time, and we be heading for the finishing line. Oh yeah.
Perfect. So now let's talk about the backing vocals. And to do this, let me just select a different section to loop back in my arrange page. Let's take the chorus here. Go back to the mixer. So these 2 vocals here are the chorus, and these are assigned to bus 2, which is the second backing vocals. Okay, let's just take a listen to those dry.
You have the cheek to say, you have some decency, you have the cheek to say, the cheek to say, the cheek to say.
Cool. And I've added in a bit of the medium plate, but just that and no delay. I'll explain shortly.
You have the cheek to say, you have some decency. You have the cheek to say, the cheek to say, the cheek to say. You have the cheek to say, you have some decency. What about the secrecy? You have the...
Cool. So there we have it. These vocals have been put in a space, but I haven't put any delay on them. Reason being, I still want to put them behind the lead vocal. And I didn't want to give it as much of a swing as I did the lead vocal, because the lead vocal has a lot of empty gaps in between, and I wanted to fill those in with delay. So this is entirely up to you as an engineer. This is just my preference. Now, another section that I wanted us to take a look at was, where did I put that vocal? Here it is. What I call the pan man vocal. Reason being, I put, okay, wasn't supposed to do that. Reason being, I put, why does it keep wanting to erase that? That's, okay, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. Reason being is, on this particular vocal, I put a special effect on bus 23. I put a bit of an amp in, and I use this amp from, well, let me just check. I have so many, from Softtube. It's a metal amp room. I love it. And sometimes it works on vocals if you just dial in a bit of a signal. And on that signal, I put in a pan man, which in effect will pan your vocal or your signal as it is being played, and I'll just play it for you now so you can see what the pan man does and probably hear it as well. And this is it without it. So on top of the delay that I put in, because if you see, it's routed to bus, okay, 10, which doesn't exist anymore. Just get rid of that. Bus 14, which is a half and a full note delay. Now, let me explain these two delays here, because you can see a quarter and an eighth note delay. And I use a UAD Cooper for this. What I do with this, just to create a bit of space, or dynamic space as they would put it, I put one echo as a half and one as a quarter, and then pan these separately. So the half one goes to the left channel, the quarter one goes to the right. So what you hear is, when I play this, and I've just muted the pan man, is the signal coming from this pan man vocal into the Cooper and being delayed a half to the left and a quarter note to the right. Which is really cool. You know, that it gives it that width, you know. It sounds like a couple of different vocals coming in from wherever. So with the pan man, it exaggerates that stereo width, which creates, again, a bigger space. Super. And with the bass guitar, let's just have the lead vocal in again.
Misery is a friend of mine, and we've been hanging out all the time. Oh yeah.
Cool. So another type of delay that I want to explain that you see here is the sample delay over here. Let me just loop this section so we can hear that. Now I'm gonna play this vocal without the sample delay.
You have the cheek to say, you have some decency.
So as you can see, it's dialed in 30 cents to the right. Now I'm just gonna unmute this so you can hear what it does and then explain it.
You have the cheek to say, you have some decency. You have the cheek to say, the cheek to say, the cheek to say. You have the cheek to say.
In effect, what a sample delay does is, as you can see here, I've panned it slightly to the right, but I've applied a delay of 1,280 samples on the left channel. So it takes the signal and then mirrors it on the left channel, but at a delay of 1,287 samples. So that gives additional space and a bit of width as well. And I love to do this on all of the vocals that I pan out whatever direction. So if I pan it out to the right on the sample delay, I'm going to have a sample delay on the left channel and vice versa on the other channel. So as you can see, all of these are sent to either bus 11, 18, or either one of these spatial effects, which is a delay or reverb. The basic rule of thumb is the more delay you put on a sound source, or the more reverb you put, the further away in the mix you're putting it, or the deeper into the mix that you're putting it. And that's if you're thinking of a mix as a 3-dimensional image. The less reverb it is, the more upfront it is in the mix. So in the next tutorial, we're just gonna talk about reverb and delay in a bit more depth, but this is just an introduction into using delay and reverb as spatial effects.